Bisexual Visibility Week is happening right now, so I want to talk about something deeply real and often misunderstood, and that's being queer in a relationship that appears straight. Now, whether you identify as bisexual, pansexual, aromantic, or asexual, your identity doesn't disappear just because of who you love or how your partner appears to the world. These do exist as spectrums, and sometimes our relationships may appear straight to people who don't really know about us or who we are or about our situations. I've been there myself. I've been in some straight presenting relationships, especially before I knew that I'm aro ace. So this is something that's near and dear to my own heart too. So for today, I'll be drawing on some therapy and wellness sources that I found to walk us through what people go through in straight presenting relationships, why it's valid, and ways to feel grounded, supported, and affirmed.
And on this journey, one more love unraveled. I finally learned to love me for me.
Let's start off with what the struggle looks like. Now, these are common experiences for queer folks in straight presenting relationships based on what therapists and wellness writers have documented. First, let's talk about invisibility, erasure, and those not queer enough types of feelings that people sometimes get. Now, many people feel that their queerness becomes invisible in these situations. Others assume that they're straight because their partner is a different gender. That leads to erasure from outsiders and even sometimes within the queer communities. These can also be internalized queer phobia, biphobia, panphobia, aphobia, questioning whether one is really queer or if they're valid because their partnership doesn't look queer enough. Secondly is pressures from societal and family expectations. Straight presenting relationships often mean more expectation to follow the norms, like marriage, children, gender roles, public presentation. Those expectations might feel more intense or come with some assumptions that they shouldn't be coming with. Sometimes people feel that they've experienced a loss of identity or their authenticity. They may feel that they're not allowed to express the queer parts of themselves openly because of this. They may also experience isolation within the queer community itself, feeling like you don't belong fully in queer spaces, being judged or gatekept because your relationship doesn't match others' assumptions of what queerness is supposed to look like. It can often come with not seeing yourself reflected in community stories or media. That can deepen the sense that your identity is lesser or invalid. And these can all lead to internal conflicts and a sense of mismatch in your queer identity. Sometimes there's dissonance between how you see yourself and how others see you. A mismatch between internal queer identity and external perception. It can be disorienting and very emotionally taxing on people. And this mismatch can lead to fears about when or if to even come out, how to do it, and worrying about how it might shift your relationships. Now let's talk about why these straight appearing relationships are still queer and valid. Now, identity is a lived internal experience. It's not conditional on what the public can see of you. What matters is your self-understanding and experience, not what others assume. The articles that I linked in this description and I used for this video emphasize that who you are doesn't disappear because your partner is of a different gender and because it doesn't match what the perception is of queer identities. Now, queerness is not a performance. You don't have to show up in stereotypical ways or fulfill others' expectations of what queer identity is supposed to look like. Authentic identity often includes how you feel inside. It's the boundaries that you draw. It's the labels or lack thereof that you take on. It's not how dramatic or visible your presentation is. Queer identities can exist within spectrums and with fluidity. Many people's identities evolve over time. Orientation, romantic attraction, desire, how one expresses gender or identity, these can all shift for some people. Relationships that honor that change are deeply queer and how they allow space for growth. Now, for support, practices, and strategies, I have some actionable ideas that I drew from these articles for folks in straight presenting queer relationships, both for self-care and for relationship health. First up is self-reflection and emotional preparation, especially for those who are coming out or sharing their identity. Now, before you talk with your partner, I suggest doing some inner work. What you know, what feels true to you, what questions remain, have those things figured out the best that you can before having that conversation. This will help you understand yourself better and know what you want to say. Some strategies that might work for that could be journaling, narrative work, thinking about how your stories around attraction, identity, and labels are formed. Trying these grounding practices can really help. Secondly is having open, ongoing communication with your partner. Let them know how your identity matters to you, how the mismatch between external perception and internal identity feels, and what support looks like. Try to be explicit in your language too. Talk about what pronouns or labels you prefer, and also how you would like them to introduce you or talk about you with other people. Also discuss expectations and assumptions on the relationship. What assumptions exist? Silence, monogamy, gender roles, and talk about whether those still make sense or maybe if they need some revisiting. Work in some affirmation and visibility when it's safe and desired. Small acts can matter. Using correct labels and pronouns, asking how your partner wants to be introduced, bringing up queerness in conversations, these all matter. Also engage with the queer community, even in small ways. Taking in media, having friendships in the queer community, going to the occasional event, online spaces, safe local groups. These things help counter isolation and invisibility. You should also revisit agreements and boundaries. Relationships can often carry implicit assumptions. We'll do X because that's normal, things like that. So checking in can reveal assumptions that no longer work for both of you. Boundaries around what you'll tolerate from others, like comments, invalidation, how you want to be seen, how you present, how much you disclose about your identity. These are all conversations that will really, really help. Next, try creating or finding community and support. Look for queer affirming therapists, counselors, support groups. Talking with someone trained really helps. When I was looking for my therapist, that was one of the biggest things that I was looking for, was somebody who was trained and had experience working with LGBTQ plus individuals. And joining an aromantic and asexual support group, especially very early on in my journey, really helped with just being able to talk about things, and not just my own experiences, but listening to other people's too. That said, it's also really helpful to talk to people who have similar experiences to you. Maybe try finding some queer people in straight presenting relationships, some people who might be in mixed orientation partnerships. Talking with people who are in those kinds of relationships just like you might actually really help you understand your partner and your dynamics as well from listening to them. And you should practice self-compassion and identity affirmation. Remind yourself that your identity is valid. It's okay if it feels complex. It's okay to struggle. It's okay for it to shift. It's okay for it to evolve. However you experience your identity, that's part of you. And that's a beautiful thing. So celebrate who you are, even in small ways. Let go of the pressure to always prove your identity and just embrace you. Now, what if you're the partner or the support person in that relationship? Because often relationships are two people, and the non-queer or differently queer partner's role still matters a whole lot. I want to offer some guidance to those folks as well. Firstly, it's important to listen with openness, not defensiveness. If your partner expresses that assumptions or invalidation hurt, take those seriously. Celebrate your partner's identity. Learn on your own when you can, whether that's through videos, books, and articles, or through representation in fiction. And if something really touches you, you might even want to share it with your partner. Use and respect the labels, the pronouns, and the identity of your partner. Even small slips, like using the wrong pronoun or the wrong label, inadvertently it reinforces that invisibility that they're trying to talk to you about. Not just be open to, but also invite dialogue. Ask what feels supportive, what feels hurtful. Be willing to adapt how you present socially together, whether it's through introductions, public behaviors, to make sure that you're honoring your partner's identity. Be an ally in public and in private. Standing up against invalidation, whether it comes from family, friends, society, these things matter. Your partner deserves to know that you've got their back. It doesn't just show that your partner matters to you, it shows that your relationship with your partner matters to you. And those two things speak volumes. Go through relationship agreements together. What assumptions you both have, what changes could help your relationship feel more authentic for both of you. Now let's talk about some pushback that people often experience. Some things that people might hear and how you can address it. If someone says to you, if you date someone of a different gender, how can you still be queer? You can tell them, because queer identity is about attraction, orientation, internal experience, not simply current relationship configuration. If someone says to you, people won't believe you or see you as queer anymore, tell them, external perception is not the measure of validity. Also, deciding how much visibility you want is deeply personal and situational. Now, what about if you're saying to yourself that coming out feels risky? Yeah, it can be. Some people aren't accepting. Some environments aren't safe. That's why perception, safety, and support are key. And what if you say to yourself, will this mess up my relationship? Sometimes these conversations do bring discomfort. But many people find that they ultimately create deeper honesty, trust, and connection. Knowing your partner, having your partner know you, those are beautiful things, and they build strong relationships. So here's what I want you to hold on to. Your identity is yours. It doesn't vanish just because your relationship looks a certain way. Queerness includes all the moments you feel inside, even when the world misreads or mislabels them. It's not about what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside and the outside. They can't take the inside from you, and they can't change the outside. Your relationship can be deeply queer, even if it doesn't check all the outside boxes. What matters is your truth, is respect, and how you live this with your partner. If this message meant something to you, share it in the comments. If you want, I'd be very happy to gather some personal stories and create a follow-up video. But I want you to remember, you are valid, you are seen, and you belong. Also, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it out so other people find this message too, and subscribe for more content like this. And if you'd like to help support me and the whole Fluently Aspec project, you can check out the merch on my website, fluentlyAspec.com. With Halloween and Ace Week both right around the corner, I'm working on a couple of new designs, so if spooky season is your vibe, keep a lookout for that. You can also order a copy of my book, Limitless, Poetry of an Aromantic and Asexual Journey. Now, every so often, I update my running sales count, and earlier this morning, I found that it has now eclipsed 600 total copies sold. For a self-published book, debut or not, that is a massive feat, especially within its first year. So I want to thank everyone who has bought their copy from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me, and you've helped me realize my lifelong dream. I cannot thank you enough for that. As always, I ask you to please be good to each other and to yourselves. I'll see you in the next one.